All right, welcome everybody to another edition of the Tinker Tribe podcast. I am joined tonight by returning guest Shane Radliff. He's the host of the Vonu Podcast. He runs Liberty Under Attack Publications. Host Vonufest has done a lot of great work to get out some self-liberation solutions to everyone that is seeking these solutions. So welcome back to the podcast, Shane. How's it been going?
Hey man, it's great to reconnect. It's been too long, but things are great. Still building, and I have to say, I have to compliment you. You actually pronounced Vonu right. I'm the host of the Vonu podcast, and I kind of reincarnated it. But we found out about 2 years into the podcast we've been saying it wrong the entire time. I just kind of said, "F it, we'll just so I'll just keep rolling with it." But you pronounced it correctly, so yeah, good job.
Yeah, can you remind everybody what that stands for? What
Yeah,
stands
yeah. Yeah, so voluntary but not vulnerable is it's a weird acronym, and basically the idea behind Vonu is, and this originated back in the '60s with a super hardcore self liberator, someone who was very forward looking on technology. We're gonna talk about technocracy stuff tonight, but he was talking about kind of like a underground payment networks over like ham radios. Like a very early, he was an engineer, very forward looking in terms of like Bitcoin. But yeah, the idea is building lifestyles that make you more invulnerable to the coercion of the state, which obviously that one's obvious. For anarchists or libertarians, like yeah, the state's a big enemy, but there's also private coercers too. And even if the state disappears tomorrow, there will always be private coercers. There's no such thing as a utopia. There's not going to be a society where everyone has forsworn the use of coercion. It just won't happen. So, regardless of who the potential coercers are, it's about building lifestyles that are resilient to that. Back in those days, he talked a lot about like van nomadism, like living on a sailboat, strategic relocation, like just moving can be like a huge, like just going from one place to another, like going from Chicago or Iraq, moving to somewhere like like Idaho or Mexico even might be advantageous to Iraq. I mean, they aren't getting bombed all the time. There's other downsides to it, but I mean, there's all sorts of things, and moving forward into today's day and age, one of the unavoidable aspects is kind of the digital, becoming invulnerable to the digital coercion and the surveillance state, and all of the control grids that are being put in place right now that a lot of people aren't even really aware of. It just sounds like rainbows and unicorns, and Trump's up there with fake Elon and Mr. Palantir, and things are just unicorns and rainbows. Everything's going to be fine. Um,
right.
and
Trump's
it's
coming to
it's fun.
save us all, right? Like that's kind of the idea is that are
Round two, Mr. Warp
well,
Speed, round two.
yeah, he's gonna save us, and it's don't worry about it, guys. Go back to sleep. It's okay. Trump's here. Big Daddy Trump is here to save us all. But once you start to see a lot of this stuff, you realize ain't nobody coming to save you. It's all a big show. They're showing the left and the right, playing you against each other, and it's always the same agenda rolling out underneath, and it continues to roll out while everybody's distracted, divided, fighting with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly, and like with 2020, they couldn't have gotten that stuff passed along with and again, not playing into the left-right paradigm, but it's just the people that the state has to worry about are the ones with guns, and the ones that have some reasoning capacity. So like the way that you get these digital technocracy things in place is to put someone like Trump in there and have him start his own meme coin on the Ethereum network, and talk about how America is now the place for crypto, but then at the same time the samurai wallets, the only real beacon of Bitcoin privacy, they had to take a plea deal because they were facing 20 years in prison for running a privacy service on Bitcoin. So it's like
Right.
I tell people in my personal life, it's like like they're not pro Bitcoin, they're not pro crypto, like they might be pro crypto,
They're
but
pro
they're not pro
surveillance.
privacy. Yeah.
They're pro surveillance that comes along with crypto, and if you're
Mm.
not like willing to fall in line with the surveillance of that system, then you're persona non grata.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, you get some people together to talk about solutions. You recently had Vonufest, right? And you got some folks out there to you do it kind of as like a private vetted gathering kind of thing. It's not open to the broad public, and you get a bunch of people up there that are focused on some solutions and are wanting to build some stuff. I listened to some guys that you had on there that were talking about some kind of alternative energy kind of stuff, and stuff that they were working on in that realm. So how do those go? How do you organize those? Like, what are some challenges? What are some things that you go through putting those on? And do you have some good turnout? Do you get some good folks that come out there and check it out?
Yeah. So Vonufest, this year is actually Vonufest 6. The first one was in 2020. What I called our Declaration of Freedom, or I actually know our rebirth of ceremony, rebirth of freedom ceremony. Wow, it's been so long. And yeah, that was the initial the idea behind it. It started back in, I guess it would have been May of 2020. And the world was very tumultuous then. But my buddy Jason Hensa, who you might have seen on HBO documentary The Anarchist,
Yeah,
he stopped by, and I was like, like, I've got this 22 acre homestead, like, people should come out here. There's an Imagine Network chef, we could set something up. And I thought there'd be no way in the world that people would just come out here. But it's actually a pretty good location. We're like 30 minutes off of like I-70, so east west, like a lot of van nomads that are doing a lot of people are just traveling in general. It's
traveling
not
around.
far off. It's not far off the beaten path per se, but it's still 30 minutes out in the middle of nowhere. But anyway, so that was so I kind of I organized the entire thing back in that time. I was on Keybase pretty much. Keybase, I think I messaged one or two people off the platform, but there was no public promotion or anything like that. And then a couple months later, I got really, or I guess the next couple months, I got a little out of control with it. And I'd been familiar with the micronation and kind of like declaring your independence, like this, like Sealand and some of those old, new country projects. So I declared my independence and started the Free Republic of Pasnia. And Vonufest is our yearly gathering of liberation here at Veritas Pasnia. And the Vonufest 6 this year was great. We had Sky Huddleston, his right hand man, and one of our executive Pasnians, we call him, who worked with Sky for a number of years. They were all out here, and we also even had, I'm not going to say names or whatever, but I'll just call him, for people who are familiar with Ben Stone, the Bad Quaker. This guy is the Bad Quaker Breakthrough Energy. I'll just put it that way. But we had it was it's always different kind of each year. Like depends on who comes out, like what kind of the spontaneous focus is. But this year, with them out there, a lot of it was breakthrough energy type topics. And this guy's interesting. He's like this 31 year old extremely brilliant dude, single-minded track, single-minded focus to breakthrough energy for a lot of reasons that I'm not going to get into here,
Yeah.
but people can go find out. But he's this brilliant guy, and he's got his main company right now is Liberator Rocket Heater, and it's a 99.7% efficient rocket stove, and better than more efficient than SpaceX apparently, when he found
Oh,
out
wow.
from the testing. And so that's kind of his main, like, I guess the way he's trying to make money, his main financial venture. And he's doing R&D right now on a Tesla turbine that you would put on the rocket heater, and that same 99.7% efficiency that you're using to heat your house and maybe even cook your food, you can also power like a small homestead or something like that.
You could extract some of that heat energy and
Yeah,
use
exactly.
it
And
as power.
it's a really, I couldn't explain the technology to you, but it involves some really wild stuff with the Tesla turbine. I couldn't get into it with you, but that's down the road anyway. He's even got another project before that that's more feasible. He was kind of handed the main prototype from it was kind of handed to him per se. But the Bork engine is this 1930s engine. It's like it takes 5 minutes to take the entire thing apart with one tool. And he's made a couple modifications to it to where it could get super efficient. It basically puts anything that you put into it in supercritical form. So you can put
Oh,
like
yeah.
charcoal slurries, pretty much any type of fuel that you want to put in it, it'll burn, and at super high efficiency. And starting small scale, like his initial, he's not trying to he knows about Stanley Meyer and how a lot of these people that come out with these things and challenge cars and like the oil companies, they end up unalive. So
Right.
he's starting with like lawnmowers or whatever, get the foot in the market or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's talked about on our podcast, like the bigger vision for these, where like the main model that's being pushed now is like, hey, buy an electric car and plug your car into your house or plug your car into the grid. But he's
Yeah.
trying to flip that to where no, it's you're producing so much energy with your car that you pull up to your house and you plug your house into your car. or even some even bigger scales like where it's actually feasible for a small community, say, to put 100 of these together and have a small nuclear power plant's worth of power. So and things like Bitcoin mining, like super cheap Bitcoin mining, that could put like the second realm at an advantage. Like there's so many possibilities. But Sky is incredible. And I guess to add one more element to Sky, there was we just concluded the last second realm speed dating finale on the Passionate Radio Network, and Sky is trying to get better at talking to people. So there's a few occasions where he was calling into this speed dating show on Twitch or on Discord/Twitch, and it's this 25-year-old millennial or whatever, and it's exactly what you'd expect from that sort of platform. And Sky's getting on there and talking about like all of this stuff, and she's just like, you can watch her like mind explode. But no, it's like, and it's hilarious. It's all around just hilarious. So if people want like an entertaining but also like educational experience, I try to make it because education is for some, not everyone can consume just super dense, boring information like I can, or like maybe you can, or like other people can. But if you do it in an entertaining manner, it works pretty well. So Sky's one of a kind, truly one of a kind. And he was one, like I said, he was one that was there as his right hand man. And just beyond that, Vonufest is there's usually I guess it's just been the past couple of years we've really had I guess big visitors or big guests like that. But it's people that my free wife and I have met. We've been going to the Midwest Peace Liberty Fest in Michigan. I've been going since 2015. I think she might have been going a year or two earlier, but pretty much that was how Vonufest and Pasadena started, was from people from
Going
people
to
I've
that
met
Liberty
and
event.
had been going there for like almost 7 or 8 years. They've all been vetted by personal experience. So that was the very first Vonufest. About 30 of them. There were about 30 people that showed up for the Constitution signing, and there's a video out there. It's pretty wild. It's ridiculous in like a funny manner, but there's a video out there with all this stuff, showing the ceremony and the signing and all that. But that's how it started. And every year, I don't remember what week it is, but people can go to Pasadena.com/Vonufest for our full event schedule. There's usually 5 or 6, but Vonufest is definitely the biggest one. And we get together, we enjoy time in the second realm. Most come for the weekend, but it's a week-long event. So it's great, for people that come before and stay after. You actually get like a lot of time together, and a lot of time immersed in the second realm. And people really like it here at Veritas, and we do too, obviously. So I've been rambling for a bit, but yeah, Vonufest, Paz, any other questions come to mind? Yeah, please bring them up.
Really focusing on solutions and what people can do, instead of a lot of times, a lot of the information and stuff that we're looking at, it can look bleak, right? It can look kind of bleak on where everything is going. But I think if we're focused on building, right, if we're focused on the solutions that we can implement and be a little bit more proactive, then and take action on those, right, then that alleviates some of these like kind of dark things that are on the horizon. And
Yeah.
at least we're given the attempt to push things in a different direction. And I guess being the organizer of all that, is that kind of like something that something that you found that you've gotten better, uh, you keep getting better at over time? Was a little bit of a challenge in the beginning getting that going, or how's that been on you?
Oh yeah, it's definitely been it's all been a learning experience, and all unplanned. Essentially, yeah, for the most part. Yeah, all unplanned. Like Pasadena wasn't part of the plan. Even being here at this homestead wasn't part of the plan. But um, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's um yeah, you were kind of you were talking a moment ago about how, yeah, things can look very bleak, and yeah, they can. But there's so much stuff going on in the Pasadena network right now, with and Pasadena Radio Network being the one of the bigger ones that is taking up some of my time, happily. But our propaganda and entertainment and educational outfit. But it goes a lot deeper with yeah, again, building out the infrastructure, whether we're talking Bitcoin or Monero. There's Bitcoin Monero nodes that you can connect to. I think I have to check. It's been about a week since logged in and updated. But yeah, there's nodes available. There's simplex relays available. There's ways to try and connect in a decentralized manner, or if you're using cryptocurrency, not connecting to a random node that might be controlled by chain analysis or something like that. We've got Paznia.chat, which is our self-hosted Jitsi. Jitsi instance, which is like Zoom, pretty much. You just go to like Paznia.chat, you put in your room name, and you share that link around. People can hop in there. It's encrypted, open source, all that good stuff. And then more beyond that, with kind of talking about physical space and time, and with the networking and building out the network. I was talking to you pre-show about kind of like the really important part is networking and trying to get these. We should technically speaking, this stuff should have been done before 2020. It would be a lot better. So we're kind of working behind now a little bit. But at the present moment, there's a lot of work being done. Whether it's Paznia network or kind of the cypherpunk homesteaders, some of those sorts of groups. But a lot of folks are really focused on mesh networking now. Things like Reticulum. Because the internet's the internet's super fragile, super controlled, and it's not going to be around forever. It's a decade ago, a lot of this stuff, I was talking about mesh networking on like the Vonu podcast a long time ago, but a lot of it then was theoretical. But now it's actually like happening, and all of this kind of coalesces very nicely into so like the communications is one thing, the passing Department of Communications. Then you have like the Department of Transportation. And a pretty major recent revelation, thanks to buddy Shadrack, who does a lot of driving, and he's got a lot of pretty good mesh networking, mesh network set up so far. He basically combining mesh networking communications with the transportation, because we've got like I mentioned in pre-show, we've got right now it's a vetted map and directory, so only like 50 people have access to it or whatever. But there's a map of locations on the map. There's a map of locations, and pretty much the idea is to eventually get that built up enough to where people can just maybe plan routes around the network, and alongside that, a lot of the 5G communication infrastructure, a lot of communication infrastructure in general is based around highways and interstates. So why not do the same thing essentially, and knock out two things at once, two critically important things. But I think I guess that's a couple things. Let me see if there's any other tech developments, or I guess any other building things. I'm not sure. But yeah, the breakthrough energy aspect is big too. The energy is a major controller. So yeah, I guess that's been a major major avenue of investigation. Mostly it's been finding folks like Sky who are trying to find the ones that are actually building cool things that are going to be feasible soon, versus all the tinkering in the garage. Nothing wrong with it, but it's not going to be quote unquote commercially available or anything like that. Per se.
Yeah, mesh networks. We've been playing around with these mesh-tastic little nodes, and the little Heltec little handheld.
Got a couple
units.
of them over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned reticulum.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that in comparison to this mesh-tastic system? Is that something a little different, or is it similar to mesh-tastic?
Yeah, so what I can offer is what I've so one of the hosts on the Paznia Radio Network, Thane Riddle, Cloak and Dagger is a show that he runs. He's a privacy and security consultant, and so there's him who's very much in favor of Reticulum, and then I mentioned Shadrack, and there's Shadrack's kind of in this like Bitcoin. It's not like a kind of like a Bitcoin. It's not like a Vonu libertarian circles. He's big into the Bitcoin community. There's a so there's a Shadrack and things. So yeah, Shadrack and his people are like in Austin, for example. Like if you go to Austin, Texas, you can connect to like 30 different mesh tactic nodes and never ever communicate with the mainstream infrastructure. But there's and then there's then there's Reticulum, and I don't know I haven't used Reticulum myself yet. I've only dabbled around in Meshtastic, but there's some, I guess the way that Thane puts it is that like Meshtastic is for like hobby and fun, and Reticulum is like the real deal kind of thing.
That's so he's been hardcore people that want to stay like super secure and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's just the better their security. I guess there are limitations on Meshtastic. in terms of like it's hops and routing and all that. I don't understand all of it. Haven't gotten into it that much, but or that deeply. But no, apparently, so like for the purposes of building like alternative infrastructure, like we're doing, apparently Reticulum is the way to go, and projects like Cordal and Start OS, Reticulum is the yeah, it's the more serious route for folks that know more than I do. That's kind of the way that I can put it. And folks can go, I recommend. I think Thane talks about Reticulum like every single week. So yeah, if you you can definitely find plenty of discussion on that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really important part of all this is how do we keep in communication, especially while they're rolling out these different forms of digital ID. There's like these digital ID systems tied into you get your world coin, and then you just got to submit your retina scan, and then you get some world coin, and now you're in this whole iris or retina scan system. And people think, okay, well, I get some nice world coin cryptocurrency, and I don't know, use that, but I've given up part of my privacy. And yeah, man, there's all these flock cameras all over the place now as well, with the reading license plates and stuff like that. Recently came across, like, Jason Bassler made a post about this thing where you can tag all these little flock cameras all around, deflock. But as all this infrastructure is being built, there's these countermeasures in different ways that we can become a little bit more proactive on these things. And so, part of that is building out these series of nodes for these mesh networks, right? Like, if we can have enough of these mesh networks so we can be able to still communicate with each other and have this kind of like travel network that you're talking about, like, we can maybe work a little bit more effectively with each other. And I see that as kind of one of the things that's maybe in our community that we can do a better job at, is like, how do we work together more effectively in our different regions and areas?
Yeah, that's 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 a good question, and it's the problem. I guess it's not a problem. It's just things are slow. Like I envision sometime eventually with the Paznia network that will have regions, like Paznia regions, to where you don't have to just like jump in and like hope that someone will blindly be somewhere close to you or something like that. But yeah, that's tough. I guess really yeah, it's I don't know, it's continuing to build here personally at Veritas, and then also try to expand the network, bring people in as much as you can. But to find, I guess that's where it's slow, like to find the hardcore self-liberators that the Paznia network is looking for. It's like the way that I put it is like I'll do a month of broadcast and maybe bring in a new stakeholder or something. Like it's like you're trying to find that one diamond in the rough per se. So like and the thing with networks is that you need numbers for the network, especially if it's geographically dispersed. But like I think there are ways to expedite that. So with the Department of Transportation, I've tried to work on it. Like I've tried to tried to bring it into vision, but I guess it's too soon. But so like for fleet apps, like there are a lot of fleet apps out there now for transportation, like for drivers. And I'm sure you could buy one bare bones and modify it however you want to. I haven't gotten around to it. There was one other solution that I was looking at a few years ago, but that I don't think that's going to be possible. But like like a lot of people are driving for Uber, a lot of people are driving for Lyft. People are looking for other sources of income, and I kind of envision like a Department of Transportation, like a white layer. Speaking in Agora's terms, where like delivering pickles in like the newspaper or something. Like there's nothing nefarious about it. Any Joe Schmo, like you don't got to worry about like any security concerns or whatever. And so we could join like the Paznia Department of Transportation, and they'd have like their reputation built in. And in the white layer, like they could build a reputation, make some money in the second realm, maybe the payouts would be in Bitcoin or Monero or something. I don't know. I guess that'd be organized between because we'd stay out of payments. When you enter payments, that's where things get complicated. But that'd be worked out between the shipper and the shipper and the driver.
Right.
But yeah, you have the white layer, which could be open to anybody, and like you can show the people that I mean, there's lots of ways you could propagandize that way. And then you have like a gray market, which is for maybe not necessarily vetted in the sense of like coming out to Veritas, out to our physical homestead, but maybe vetted in the sense as they like a 5-star reputation. Everything's always been solid, and there's even been a few like in-person contacts, like people can vouch for them, like they're good people or something, and they can start delivering. I don't know what gray market would be in this context, but whatever it is in the context, where people are talking about this. And then like an actual, like this would be,
well,
like,
it could be even raw milk. I mean,
there you go, exactly, raw milk. Yeah, exactly.
It could be raw milk,
Unlicensed
because,
eggs or something. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Food products, because some of these things are becoming
meat that was not processed at a USDA approved butcher.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that's kind of a roundabout answer to your question, is like how do we? It's kind of like we got to build it up, and I guess it's just continue to do what we're doing, and keep slowly building. Because I mean that. Yeah, it'd be great for it to be bigger, but if it gets blown up, like if it if the project gets blown up because you just let people in, like that's like a lot of the hardcore intentional communities, like people can go to like ic.org, and there are some intentional communities that have been around since like 1970, 1970. And yeah, they're more left leaning, but whatever. They don't advertise. You don't know they exist.
Right.
And that's how they stay in existence. Not saying they aren't open to people, but it's like 100 people, like a small amount of people that are interested and that find it. So
right.
Yeah.
We have one over in Blount County, Alabama. It was a bunch of back to the land people back back in the day, and they have their own little community out there, and they do some stuff with the public, but yeah, they're pretty much like they got their own people in there, and they're still operating the way that they have been since they started that little community out there, and they've been going on like that for quite a long time. But
yeah, I guess that is a one area to look at for inspiration in terms of building community and networking is. And again, like you can learn from anybody. You can learn from any example. So like whether it's organized crime, like obviously that's like a parallel society. Organized crime is they've existed simultaneously with, and also in coordination with, the state at times. And then you have like the Amish. The Amish it's also kind of a parallel society. And then the same, like the intentional community, like these parallel societies can exist for long times, side by side with each other. And this is one thing I think it was a valuable contribution by Rayo, is essentially that. Oh gosh, yeah, I'm gonna butcher that quote too much, but yeah, it's yeah, I guess that's yeah. I'll stop there, but yeah, that's yeah.
Rayo, the guy that was developing this concept of becoming not vulnerable to the system, living outside of it.
Building parallel societies and learning from those societies that have existed for gypsies, for being a nomadic example. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of examples out there to learn from. And yeah, I mean, the Amish are interesting for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that at a certain point, like that nomadism might become a necessity at some point? Like we all have like our little pockets of little freedom communities, but maybe the situation gets a little too hot in that one location, and you're gonna have to jump around a little bit. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So with Vonu, Rayo was very much in favor of mobility. If the coercers can't find you, they can't coerce you. Yeah. And pretty much every way that you get property nowadays, unless you do it through something like a proxy merchant, someone that you trust that will act as the intermediary, and you can not be listed on the property or whatever. Anything beyond, and even with nomadism, like there's still registration and driver's licensure and all that stuff too. So like there's no there's no perfect. There are solutions and ways to legal interstate and stuff, but no, like so Vonu is very much most of the lifestyle changes are mobile in nature, or at least semi. So like the way I call it, like off-grid homesteading, like semi-permanent homesteads is the way that I talk about it. And with Vonu, it's having multiple Vonu home bases. And again, like building out this network is also, like there's a network, like there's obviously I want to build out the network, but I'm also trying to build out the network for me and my wife and that too. Like
Your local
if
area.
ever.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess everywhere. Just building out, trying to build, build out a worldwide network so that if things do get super hot and you got to take off, like, got people in many
You've got
places.
people you can plug into in different
Yeah,
areas.
it's already and obviously, hopefully, nothing like that, transpires. But it's again, like you're saying, being prepared, and being proactive, for sure.
Right. Right. Yeah. So what are some things I know the last time we talked was like pretty much going through kind of the lockdown period and kind
Hmm.
of going through all those times with the tyranny coming down on everybody, and you were working on some more stuff to become more self-reliant on your own property. Like have you continued to build a lot of that stuff and work with building up your homestead and everything?
Yeah, for sure. I guess it's a lot more knowledge and a lot more experience. So yeah, I mean, I guess was last year's big project was we moved the ruminants over to from our old. It was an old chicken coop. Wasn't good enough. There's a big shed on the other side, and we put out a bunch of huge, run of fencing, big chunk of fencing, and the left side of the property here, for originally going to be for lambs, but I think we're going to switch over. We've got actually a small herd of goats now, so I think we're going to switch from lambs to goats, because really the only market for lambs is taken to public auction.
Mm.
Um, well, except I guess there's we're looking into other avenues, but goats, there's a much larger market for goats, and goat
You
milk
could do
is.
like goat
Mhm.
milk
Yep.
basically.
Exactly. And a lot more people like my parents they don't like fatty lamb or whatever, but they would love goat. And that'd be like for a lot of people around here. Um, so we're kind of switching over there. So there are, I guess we're gonna have one more lambing, one more big batch of lambs, and our homestead's a corn and soy free homestead, so we don't feed them anything. But my neighbor right down the street he grows non-GMO corn, non-sprayed, that on my dad's property, for cash rent. So
Okay.
um, I'm going. So the plan is, basically have another batch of lambs, fatten them up, feed them the corn, and then take a big batch of lambs to auction, and then buy another goat or two to get some new genetics, and kind of switch transitioning there to try to actually the first number of years was learning. And I mean, I don't know anyone who's very quickly made money on a homestead, so we're still learning, figuring it out. It's been slow.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we at that time, I think I had the chicken shanty is what I called it. But yeah, there've been a couple. I had a lot of birds, 40, 50 birds or something,
Yeah.
ducks, turkeys, and chickens, and a big carport, that we reinforced to protect from the raccoons and
Oh yeah.
other predators.
Yeah, those
But we
predators get to them.
yeah, for sure. But we downsized that now, and downsized the flock, and now I'm in the process of building a I bought like a 212. It was like $200 for like a 20 by 10, um, like metal. It's a metal base with chicken wire on most of that comes with chicken wire, and you just got to put it on. And then yeah, I'm building it out from there, because if I was looking at how much it would cost to buy a chicken tractor, and for like a 4 or 6 bird one, like already made, is like 800 or $1,000, and it's like, that's crazy. It's for like
Yeah.
that many birds. Forget that.
Yeah.
So that's been what I've been working on now, is the chicken coop. And I guess the other big project was actually a Vonufest project. And I should have mentioned it earlier, but um, there was, I won't go into details, but someone came by, came to Pasnia, came here actually to physical homestead, and we started it's a compostable outhouse and outdoor shower project. And
Oh.
he got the kind of the base foundation done, and then had to leave. And so like, I finished some of that, like a day or two of that, and then for Vonufest, it was for 3 or 4 days. Me and one of our good buddies, Alex, was here, and we finished the shower side. And the compostable toilet part isn't done yet, as far as like the actual toilet, but it's all up there. It's all tongue roll and it looks really, really good. And it's kind of the first actual project here. So yeah, next year,
Oh,
like the outdoor shower is already in operation. Well, we took it down for the winter, but yeah, shower and yeah, next year there'll be a compostable toilet here on property. So those issues will be will be solved.
nice. So when you host people and you have them out for events and camping stuff like that, that there's like a little shower place that
Hmm.
people can get cleaned up at and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess there's also another development. We got a pond on the property now too. We just stocked with fish. Yeah, this past spring. But so yeah, the pond's there too for swimming. And I guess yeah, for folks in your network, if they're traveling around or they want to experience Veritas, I'm email away coordinator@pasadena.com, and if they're vetted by you, they're and as far as I'm concerned, they're definitely welcome. So we've got lots of place to camp. Yeah, lots of garden stuffs if it's the right time of year, wellness items, all sorts of stuff. So I would definitely invite you or folks that you trust. Definitely invite them out here.
Yeah, I think what your partner does a lot of stuff with like healing and like some tinctures and different herbs and stuff like that. He's still working on that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. So Aura's apothecary. People go to libertarianattack.com/Aura. She's got lots of good stuff like comfrey salve, the comfrey's grown here on the property. Um, There's jewel weed for poison ivy or for itchy stuff. Works wonders. Thyme salve. She's got natural insect repellent. All sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff. And that's libertarianattack.com/Aura. And then I actually released my first wellness product called the Pain Liberator. I've been big into
Okay.
DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide, which if you ever go to the farm supply store, you can find 95% of that, 95% pure of that stuff. If you're ever in a pinch, but
Yeah.
I get 99%, 99.9% pharma grade DMSO, and then blend it with aspirin and magnesium. And this most recent batch had I don't know if you're familiar with Doc Barber, but he makes some of the best colloidal silver out there. So it's in that colloidal silver water base. And the idea, yeah, it's called the Pain Liberator, and it's the problem with aspirin when people take it takes takes some time for it to kick in. But
Yeah.
with DMSO, there's 90+% absorption, and with the powdered up aspirin and the DMSO, it's instant pain relief.
So is it like a
Yeah.
topical thing?
Oh, it's a spray. Yep, you spray it like wherever you're feeling pain, you spray it. I use it for headaches. It's good stuff. It's great stuff. Um, but that's available libertarianattack.com/pain if anyone wants to check that out. But it's pretty. I mean, people can make it themselves too. It's just like DMSO is. It's getting a little more expensive. But aspirin is you can buy a thousand pills for $15, 325 milligrams. So that's cheap. And then this last batch would have been a little more for the colloidal silver. It's a little more high value than other stuff I usually use, but people can make this stuff on their own too. I just didn't know why it didn't exist already. Um, so
Yeah.
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 Well,
That's
actually, I guess athletic trainers have known it existed. They've used it. NFL train back in the '90s, DMSO was huge in the
oh
NFL.
really?
Yeah, you can find it's funny to read the articles like every locker room smells like garlic. People are using DMSO, and it's like they don't need to do that anymore. They got better stuff.
Yeah, it's like there's all kinds of these like alternative health things, but a lot of them become, suppressed or called like, oh, what are you doing that for? That's like some quackery or whatever.
Yeah,
But that's all the world that we live in with the Rockefeller medicine system and how all that came about. So there's plenty of
yeah.
solutions out there. You just got to go seek them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so we talked a little bit. You mentioned earlier a little bit about like getting the kind of like the entertainment and um, the word out through different forms of media and entertainment. I know that you've had your publications and you've been putting together like several different little publications and are you self-publishing a lot of that stuff and putting it out there under your Liberty Attack website? And like, what does it take to get something like that going and doing that kind of publishing? Because I know the last time we talked a lot about how, it's important for the ideas to get out there and the philosophy behind a lot of this stuff to enter and people to get familiar with, for things to change. Because unless you can have like some kind of alternative thought or alternative way of thinking about how the world is, then you're kind of stuck in the centralized paradigm of our system.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think probably one of the best ways that we can get it out, maybe get our message out there, is to become like pretty effective at media, and having, like you said, like having an entertainment bent on it. Like you said, you did the speed dating thing where you get some people together to like maybe talk about some ideas, and maybe how does that go? Is that like just some normie person talking to somebody that's like a has some of this philosophical bent to them, or how's that been going?
Well, so the second realm speed dating thing was purely, it was probably a maybe just like a three. I don't know. Thane's talked about. I've looked around for him too. This is just a speed, like this lady, her Coyote Boot or whatever her name is on Twitch. She literally just gets paid to like people call in and with video and like talk to her. It's just like a speed dating show, and Sky just literally just got connected, like got pointed in her direction and started, called a few times. But I've looked around to see if there's anything like that anymore. Because Thane wants to call in and just imagine, like, instead of the breakthrough energy. Well, I guess you might not have heard Thane, but Thane is, I don't know. It's not to put it frankly, I don't know how. Every once in a while, I'd broadcast to Twitch, and I'm not sure how we're allowed on there. He's not like he's not for like it's supposed to be a comedy show with trying to make privacy and security sexy
Yeah.
and fun. So he goes through initially like the news and whatever news and then into like building the second realm. And again, a lot of it's like mesh networking, or lots of tips, lots of tricks, all that stuff. But no, I would like it. So to imagine like a breakthrough energy angle with Sky, and then like I don't know, I can't even imagine what something like that with Thane would be like. I don't think there'll be any more second round speed datings. It would be cool if there were. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But no, you're exactly right. Like entertainment, debating is useless nowadays, like 95% of the time. Yeah, especially if you're, debate, there's like, yeah, debating, like if you're actually going to get to the root of an issue, you've got to like, there's some, like for anything that I talk about, it requires so much context, so much like, you know 10 plus years of research, like how, like it's almost unfair to ask me to condense it down into like a sentence. I try to, it's helpful, but it's almost like unfair. So yeah, entertainment's where it's at. And via Liberty Tech Publications, initially it started out, I wanted a publishing company. Like I was publishing my first book, my only book now, Vonu Strategy for Self-Liberation, which the second edition's out now. But Rayo Publications was other than that, the first books that I published, hashtag Agora and second round book on strategy, were books that were hidden on this website called interplex.net, and they're available for free. And hashtag Agora is published by Anonymous. This was I call it Agora's fiction. And it's a really, really great story. Quick read, I used to make a habit of reading it every single year. I've gotten out of the habit for the past couple of years, but takes a few hours to read, and really gives you an idea. Like the guy gets introduced to Bitcoin, and then he meets this woman who takes him into the second realm and shows him how like into the world of like encrypted computers and freedom, like true freedom and autonomy. And lots of other good stuff in there too. And then second round book on strategy, which I call it like the nonfiction counterpart to that. But getting back to the fiction part, we've made it a big part. Like a big part of our focus is freedom fiction, or Agora's fiction, anarchist fiction, whatever you want to call it. Because fiction, if you give people a great story, you can kind of you can program propagandize ideas. I mean, the first realm does this, obviously, right? The Servile Society does this. We can do it too. It's effective. But at least they're being taken towards guided towards their freedom and not like again like something like the centralized control grid or something. But yeah, we've got so hashtag Agora is an amazing one. It's available for free too if you don't got to pay for it. I just please read it if you can. Then we've got one of our clients, and let's say one of my good friends in real life, published. He's got the Brushfire thriller series, Brushfire in 2048, and I think there might be another. It's supposed to be a trilogy, so maybe there'll be a third one. But those are available. Those are incorporate a lot of the crypto anarchy sort of solutions, digital technology freedom solutions, and then we just got added. We didn't publish this one initially, but we didn't publish these initially, but Paul Rosenberg is like the OG like cypherpunk crypto anarchist. He wrote a book called A Lodging of Wayfaring Men right after 9/11, or he started writing it before 9/11. And after 9/11 happened, he released it anonymously because he was scared that he was raising a family at that time, and he was kind of rightly worried. But this book, they basically hide the free digital economy in a video game, and it's not just it's not just digital transactions like people like carpenters. Stuff's happening in real life, and it becomes I'm not going to spoil it, but it's truly like it's probably one of the best pieces of fiction out there, and it goes beyond just kind of the freedom aspect. It gets into the human experience. Paul's a Christianity even. Paul's a super interesting guy. He's definitely a Renaissance man. So, that's one that we offer. Paul's newer book, The Breaking Dawn, is there too. But yeah, like
I have that book. I haven't dug into it.
Okay, yeah. Breaking Dawn.
Breaking Dawn.
Okay, yeah, it's great. I've actually read that one twice. I reread that one a couple of years ago. And it's fantastic. But yeah, so those books are there. But it's super important. I mean, there's that saying that like art imitates life, or life imitates art, and it's both. 100% both all the time. But
and that's a lot of the way that we relate to each other, right? Is through the telling of stories, right?
Yeah, that's the entire history of humanity. Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's a really
good point.
It's a really effective way of getting a message out, right? Like if you can put some of this stuff into a fictional story, then you're able to get that across to somebody. Some ideas that maybe you couldn't, share, or somebody would be receptive to just by putting it out there in some kind of technical terms, or like explaining it to them. But if you give them a story and then they can follow along with the story and get involved with it, that some of these ideas will come across that through that story, right?
Yeah. Yes. Certainly. And so yeah, there's widespread benefits like that. But then there's also like for me, when I got into the realm of Austrian economics and libertarianism and anarchism, there was hardly any focus on solutions. Way back in that day, in those days. So like that's one of my primary goals. Early publication. We one of my big projects was digitizing all of the Vonu zines from the 1960s to the 1990s. And I was thankful enough to get in contact with Jim Stum, who was pretty much a libertarian archivist of again like 1960s 1990s. And he went and met Rayo back in 1970 and went and camped with him for a time. So he's probably the only person in existence that actually met Rayo that's alive today. And he I got in contact with him. He's still alive, still typing on that same typewriter. Yeah, he doesn't use computers. And he sent me his entire collection. And it took me a number of years to finally get digitized. And yeah, those will be slowly released in paperback format. Over the next year or two, and then yeah, they'll all be available for free digitally. But no, it's we were talking about the fiction aspect. I'm not sure if there's any other angles there, but I thought that was important to drop in just because like so much of this, I had to struggle to find just to find so much of the stuff on liberation, like the valuable stuff. I had to weed through so much nonsense or so much stuff that would violate security culture, privacy, and condensed down yeah, like being able to condense that down, and maybe instead of like a decade of tireless research, if someone can sit down and get a picture of how these ideas and lifestyles could look in a book, and they can enjoy it, and maybe it only takes them 3 or 6 hours to finish the book, yeah, saves them a lot of time.
Right.
Saves them a lot of time. And yeah, the inspiration part of it too. It's hard to, yeah, it's hard to see, like, especially if you're super ingrained in the first realm of surveillance society, to see the way out is very, very difficult. Like how the hell does a free lifestyle look like in today's day and age? Um, so yeah, you can give people visions, ideas, yeah, inspiration. It's critically important. Critically important.
Yeah. So you mentioned zines. What are zines? If you could explain that a little bit.
Yeah. So I guess these were instead of like magazines today, back in the 60s or 70s, these were small booklets. Ink and paper cost mattered back then a lot more than it does today. But yeah, these were just they were usually monthly. At least like the Vonu ones were usually monthly zines, and they would have usually like an initial section for letters from contributors or advertisements, and then there'd be some articles or contribution, some articles or whatever, and then yeah, but they were just small zines, small booklets that were cheap and easy to ship. Yeah, back in those days, nothing super special. Um, but yeah, there was a lot of special stuff in those publications. So let me tell you, and a lot of other weird, interesting stuff that I stumbled across. Um, yeah, weird stuff that doesn't relate to freedom, but relates to like how the opposition the enemy always wants to control the opposition, and I'll just say early libertarianism, especially around the '60s, the counterculture time. Um,
It's getting infiltrated.
there's some of that, and then there's also the fact that these strategies are so good that there was probably a big serial killer that was a contributor to Preform Inform.
Oh,
Actually,
wow.
he was big into ciphers in the San Francisco area around in the late '60s. There's a guy. I'm alluding to Zodiac Killer,
The
but
Zodiac.
there's a guy that released a book just in the past decade or so, who ran through, and I noticed this when I was digitizing. I was like, this guy is either like he's either a retard or he's like a high functioning autistic, like he's brilliant. I'm not quite sure. And then I just see weird things. He would just make these weird comments, like, turns out you can send a letter to the San Francisco Examiner without a postage stamp. And it's like, why would that be valuable knowledge to anybody anywhere? And I just see like weird things like that. And that was before I typed in Paul Dore on Google after that, and I was like, holy shit, San Francisco Zodiac Killer. Whoa. And yeah, there's a
Wow.
book, and the author of the book actually got in contact with Paul Dore's daughter, and they went around, showed evidence and all, and she initially she was like, there's no way, and after she went around with the author, she was like, actually, yeah, my dad's a Zodiac Killer. So yeah, the
Wow.
Zodiac Killer was yeah, Preform Inform, offered some valuable stuff. He was big into like big into the Lord of the Rings and like Hobbit houses and stuff. He was a big weirdo, but not that I'm not into that stuff too, but he was just um, yeah, yeah, big, yeah,
He
and
was
big into
he was
ciphers.
he was putting in like some information into this like kind of a underground kind of
Nope. Yeah.
Liberty publications and
Paul
stuff like
Paul
that.
was Paul had his own publication called The Pioneer, and he contributed to other ones. So I mean, there's a lot of valuable information in there. Like he was using it to like brutalize people, which is unfortunate. But the point is the strategies to remain invulnerable to coercion work.
Hmm.
And that's the Zodiac Killer might have slipped through the cracks. Um, but
Wow, that's
yeah.
that's wild, man. I've never heard of that. That's
No,
wild.
I didn't eat. No, I didn't either. This was one. Yeah, it was one of those. Now that's not. That's only one of the two things too.
That's
But
something that you stumbled across through going through all these old zines and everything.
yep, yep. And apparently, and I brought that up to a researcher, Corey Hughes, who does a lot of JFK research, and apparently, Paul Dore was tied into a militia. There's a militia outfit in California, um, that's that might turn him on to further research connecting connecting him to like in the circle of JFK assassination too. So like it's wild. And I haven't mentioned another cool part of this, but I don't really want to go there.
Wow.
That's yeah. There's some interesting stuff for sure.
Yeah, I was listening to part of that show that you had on with Corey Hughes is what his name
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
about
Kerry
the
Thornley is an interesting character.
yeah.
Yep. Found that out a few years after publishing his book. But or not, it wasn't his book. It was from Innovator, an old libertarian zine. He published 5 articles over the span of a few issues on it's called the Permanent Floating Voluntary Society, and it was really great stuff. Really great stuff talking about finding freedom on the open ocean. Building community, ways to make money on the open ocean. Really, really great stuff. So yeah, we published it as a book, and yeah, come to find out, Kerry Thornley was deep naval intelligence. He won a Voices of Democracy writing award in high school. Super smart, but
Yeah.
very much. Anytime, like as Corey says, like anytime you hear like Voice of Democracy in the 1960s, it's only one thing.
Yeah.
Or in the 50s, 60s, whatever. It's only one thing.
That was intelligence.
Yeah, they're trying to get the smart people that they want for these sorts of things. But yeah, Kerry Thornley was apparently, I'm not going to say apparently anymore. It seems pretty. Garrison knew back in the 60s on the front page of the JD Tippett file was it was talking about Kerry Thornley. Well, Kerry Thornley was the one that shot one of the two that shot Officer JD Tippett's the morning of the JFK assassination to get the Dallas cops to give a shit about it because most people didn't like JFK back in those days. So they had to kill a cop to get him to care. And people might remember an Oswald lookalike from the upstairs theater that was taken down from the upstairs theater. That got out cleanly. Well, that was Kerry Thornley. Kerry Thornley also shadowed. This is the other weird part too. Is even before all of this, Kerry Thornley was at the same at Sugi, military base in Japan, and like 1960, 1961, Kerry was writing this book called The Idle Warriors, about how basically the story of Oswald before it actually happened. That this Marine, this is idle warrior, over in Russia got indoctrinated communism and wanted to start murdering president, killing a president or something. And this was before then. Before then, and that book's actually published. It's called The Idle Warriors. And yeah, after that, Kerry really didn't. He's kind of stayed under the radar as he could, but there were times later on. Corey Hughes, there was one letter recently on his podcast feed that he reads from Kerry that was a little before, but I have a book where it was a letter to a psychiatrist because this shit I think Kerry might have like later on in his life actually been remorseful. He didn't realize what he was a part of back in those days and what would actually transpire from it. But there was there's a letter where he was like, and I don't remember all the names, but it's like I was connected with a dozen people that were involved with the JFK assassination. I would call myself crazy too. Like he's like yeah, like this is it's not a coincidence. And Corey Hughes kind of points it out as like it's his confession essentially. Like these are his confession letters. But he's doing it in a smart way so he could not like go to prison, or whatever.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, Kerry's an interesting character. Yeah, and the weird part about it too is that it's so like JFK was, it was 1963, and through so like Innovator was 1965. So he had done this, and then he was writing for these publications afterwards, as a co-editor to Rayo. And I can only imagine Rayo being I don't know. Like maybe that's one reason that he I don't know. Like if I found out that I was a co-editor to someone that was like deep naval intelligence and deeply involved with the JFK assassination, I might disappear too, like Rayo did in '74.
Wow.
So I don't know. I keep finding these little gems. Now I want to go through them more. Because the most tedious part of the process is these are old. Like they're not always good quality, so you can't. I had someone's he had the OCR copies, like scanning copies of a lot of these, but they didn't work because they're old. It didn't work. So I have to type.
Messed up.
Yeah, so I had to actually type all of these in and to digitize them. So it was tedious, and I guess I didn't always necessarily probably at 150 words per minute typing. I probably didn't actually internalize as much as I should have. So yeah, once the books are out, I'll sit down and actually read them like a reader instead of a transcriber. But yeah, tons of gold in there, especially Vonu Life. Yeah.
Yeah. So knowing some of this, knowing that some of these things get, there's some bad actors that come into these spaces. Like how do you safeguard from some of that happening? Like, do you have any ideas about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just vetting. Yeah, it's vetting and the foundation. I mean, one of the principles of the Pasnian Constitution, to be a Pasnian or to be any associated territory, you have to forswear the use of coercion.
Hmm.
So it's I mean, there's not much stipulation. It's basically the only one, and that you have to be committed to privacy, um, or understand the importance of privacy, whatever. Um, but yeah, vetting's where it's at. Yeah, truly is, and it's hard. Like I get asked this question, quite a bit, and it's like, well, my advice, I guess, is to find a freedom festival and go there for 5 years, and you'll probably find some folks that that you can build with, but that's not always relevant to people. So yeah, like it's yeah, I guess now, and I'm even considering this more now, because we've got there's this really terrific family that we met at the farmers market. And we'll slide in, a health tip or something, here and there, and they're actually taking like, they're actually doing some of it, and she's making, she makes like super great, like homemade sourdough bread and stuff like that, and she'll like, if we have a problem with something, she'll usually just take it out for everybody. Um, and like see her at the health food store, every Monday when I'm there at the distillery, and like I think there is some value and some possibility. Like obviously I'm not going to invite them to Vonufest probably, but as far as building local community too, yeah, that's important, and it goes beyond just building local relationships with good people. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Now we're living in such, the digital age and everything. Do you think that there's kind of a resurgence in this physical media now that there's so much surveillance and stuff over the digital um, pathways that we live in, the digital airwaves and electrical signals and everything that are going on? Is there somewhat maybe of a resurgence in physical media again, to where you can maybe pass along a pamphlet to somebody, or a physical book, or a
That's a good question.
DVD or something like that? Are we going back to that in some ways, or do you see an importance for that?
No, I think so, but I don't think it's necessarily like like a DVD or pamphlet now. I think it's more something like a 2 terabyte external hard drive, something along those lines. One of the projects, and this Elliott Publications goes right along with this, but it's the Pasnia Library, and I guess the idea is, I've got the Pasnia Library here locally, on a an external hard drive, but I guess I guess the big goal is redundancy. The big goal is that if one Library of Alexandria gets burnt down, it doesn't matter. That's the idea. We want to build a decentralized Library of Alexandria with podcasts, videos, books, homeschooling materials, anything and everything, entertainment. Movies, TV shows, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Um, and I guess one of the we're looking at a solution like it's called PeerTube, and it's basically like YouTube over torrents. I guess is a way to think about it, over BitTorrents, and you can still put books up there and all of that. But the idea is that people could, like with IPFS, Internet Interplanetary File Storage. I'm not sure how familiar you or your listeners are with that, but
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar with
okay,
IPFS.
cool. Cool. So it's kind of the same thing as like people could set up seed a node. And we have our initial Veritas Pasnia one, and we try to make it where it's like a one-click download, where every single Pasnia could download the entire Pasnia library via, or seed it even via PeerTube, and then we'd have like 30 redundant nodes. And I mean, it's like it's 30 redundant nodes across various jurisdictions, different states, different countries, etc. It'd be very, very hard to stop it ever. Um, so yeah, I guess that's kind of the answer in the future. But I don't think it's necessarily. I mean, so we went to a freedom festival last year, a new one, Midfest in Oklahoma, to try to reach a new group of folks, and it was very good, very effective. Actually, I actually did sell quite a few books there. So that that was so I guess there is some need for it, but you got to go out to like freedom festivals or something.
Yeah.
I think Aura, the Free Wife, and I are going to we're going to prioritize Pork Fest this year. I've never been, and it's pretty much one of the biggest ones, and I got to go sometime. Got to go sometime. So I think that might be our focus next year. And yeah, we go there, we'll probably sell quite a few books, but it's like I mean, even people within our network, books don't sell much. Like people come out here to Vonufest, you might sell a handful of books or something, but yeah, I don't know. Physical medium. I think for like data mule purposes or whatever, like for some of the hardcore folks, yeah, I think like passing flash drives or hard drives. But no, I think it's mostly digital now. I don't think there's much of a need for it. I like physical books. That's one of the reasons I publish a lot of these books so I can actually have paperbacks.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I'm one of the few rare ones. So a lot of people just have a Kindle and just read on it. So,
Well, I'm the same way, man. Like, it's more difficult for me to like sit on a screen and read than to have a physical
I'd get
book
distracted
and read that book. Yeah. So I'm there with that book in my hand, and when I read it, I'm able to digest it more. And staring at the screen and the light on the screen and stuff like that kind of messes with you over time.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's one of the questions that I know you're a deep reader and you've read a lot of different materials. So how do you find the time to, with all this other stuff that you're doing, like how do you find the time to read? Is that a part of like a daily thing that you do, is take some time to read, or how do you work that into your life?
Yeah, so I wish I could be one of the people that was like, yeah, I have a very rigorous daily schedule that I adhere to. Well, I don't know, maybe I wish, maybe I don't. No, it's not like that. I've noticed my routines. And around December to March or April, I'll pretty much read like I don't know, I couldn't, depends on the length of the book, but I'll read like 10 or 20 books in the span of like 3 or 4 months.
Oh wow.
And then I'll be too busy for the rest of the year. And I guess the rest of the year I'm just trying to assimilate all of the knowledge that I read in those 3 or 4 months. So I've noticed that routine. When I get into a reading routine, it's hard to get me to stop. So I guess it's naturally worked in, like during the winter months around here is a good time for me to intake, and then I've got time to assimilate, and then hopefully some time to act on the things that I read. But yeah, I don't know if that's gonna. I guess that the other hard part about that too is the stuff that I'm reading now. It'll take lifetimes to assimilate. G.I. Gurdjieff and stuff. So yeah, it's time doesn't matter in this case. It doesn't matter that much. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's something I found in my life is that I like to read these books and to digest them and do that, but I find it difficult for me to get to the point where I can find the time to read it nowadays, and so it's finding that time and being able, like you said, to digest the books and then be thinking about them and seeing how you can integrate them into solutions and things that you're working on.
And I guess that's the other part of it. The other part that I've found, and Kyle Reed and I started doing this back in like 2015 or 2016. But he used to write super long and boring and dull articles. I think they're entertaining, but speaking for the majority of people, they probably find them boring. No one ever is going to read any of his articles. So like we would always do, we call them spoken discourses. We turn anything we put into like writing format, we turn into audio. So I think that's another. You're asking earlier about like is the physical medium coming back? No, it's not. I don't think it is. But even if people aren't going to read books anymore, like even for me, that's how. So that'll be my alternative answer. If I want to listen to a book, I'll find the audiobook for it. Because I mean, yeah, I can't just sit down and read a book but I can listen to it while I'm working.
Right.
So yeah, and I've done that forever. I'm 2,000 hours of Bill Cooper archives back in like 2012 when I was like 18 or 19. So yeah, it could be done back then. It was difficult. There were no podcatchers, and it was hosted on the shitty website, and it was not easy to do. But damn it, I found a way. So yeah, you and anyone else can too. I know you. Yeah, I know you. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, listening and also just like that's something like I make people go to vonupodcast.com. They can find the second round book on strategy audiobook for free. My book, Vonu Strategy for Self-Liberation, is up there for free in audiobook format. There's more. The Book of Secret Hiding Places how to bury your goods. What else is there? There's more. I'm forgetting. Vonu, the Search for Personal Freedom, Part 1 and Part 2. There's so much. Yeah, everything out there is available for free. But yeah, if you do want to help support, what we do, if you want, paperback copies, it definitely helps. libertariantech.com for that.
Excellent. Yeah. There's so much of this stuff when we talk about being able to pass these messages out and just get the word out to more people that you know you look into how some of this stuff was done in the past and in spycraft and things like that, and how they left certain symbols around or whatever that only people in your network might be familiar with and things like that. And it's there's a lot of these strategies that were done in the past that could be relevant today when we're talking about building out a network of people that get it and want to work together. That you know there's some of these symbols and things that could be put out, and some of these things where they have these strategies for moving materials and things to not be detected around in different areas in these military guys strategies and tactics and stuff like that. And recently talked to a buddy about some of that stuff, and the military's been working on a lot of this stuff for a long time, so they have some useful information to glean, I think, from some of
Oh
the
yeah,
things that they developed over time.
Yeah, one of the books on my reading list. Now, actually, no, I don't remember the actual name of the book, but there was a book on CIA spycraft, tradecraft or disguises, CIA disguises or something, from the 40s or 50s. Yeah, like again, learn from anyone, doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it's like, of course, I'm gonna learn from organized crime. I'm gonna learn from the Amish. I'm gonna learn from who gives a shit all morning from. I'm just gonna learn from them. I don't got to agree with them morally or ethically. To glean some value from it. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've talked about that because like these guys, especially when you're talking about getting people to work together in leadership and getting groups to work together effectively, like these guys have really thought about these things over time and developed these strategies on being able to work effectively with teams. And I I think, and I've kind of seen it in the freedom community that like we're really hardcore individualists, right? And sometimes that doesn't tend towards people working together the most effectively sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things that I've been thinking about a lot recently because we've got our own little freedom cell group in our area, and I'm doing my best to like try to get us to work on things together. But
Yeah.
it could be a challenge, man. It can be a real challenge.
Yeah, no, it definitely can be. And I won't go into any personal things here, but coordinating the digital network is one thing. But we've had people come stay on the property and such, and the personal disagreements and stuff, and that sort of stuff happens, and it's I'm thankful for it because I can learn from it, and try to figure out better ways to deal with that in the future. But yeah, um dispute resolution, private arbitration, and I guess and those are big words for just saying working, finding agreements to work between people. But yeah, I guess something and maybe this would be a value for you, and I'll just toss it out there. But we're so for anyone that that comes to stay at the property for any extended period of time, we're going to default to what's called a win-win-win contract. Explicit, because you got to, unfortunately, if you don't make things explicit, just it seems to be natural that give people an inch and take a mile, that sort of thing. So yeah, kind of laying it out and finding English, plain English, like needs on both sides. Needs on both sides, like what's needed for this to work, and then basically come up with an agreement where it's a win for all parties involved, both me Aura and the other individual or family or whatever, and then also for Pasnia too.
So it's kind of like a setting expectations kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's not anything mystical, but it's something like you probably should have done it to start with, but you can't know until you No, right?
Put it
So
to practice, right?
yeah. So I guess that's one thing. It's I don't know. I've mediated many disputes. I guess it's been Telegram's a lot slower than what it is, but I've acted as coordinator and mediated numerous times in the past in the Telegram chat, but um, I haven't really had to do much of that now. It's been more trying to I guess navigate the waters of trying to the waters of building community with a bunch of radical individuals like myself. It's not easy, and it seems like something Thane's big on is monetization is big. Whether we're talking about decentralized anything, monetize anything. You got to give people incentive to do it. So
Right.
I don't know. There's solutions. I don't know any. I can't give you any specifics there, but
Yeah, but well, you touched on something good there, which is like having some way to exchange value with each other and to give value to others, in some way or some regard, so that we're not all just out here like starving freedom fighters that are just like eking out some kind of existence.
yeah.
So the entrepreneurial aspect and building each other up, like to figure out whatever your strong suits are, if you can turn that into some kind of a entrepreneurial venture that can be fostered within our community. I think those are that's important skills, right? And you're demonstrating that, and you're doing that stuff, and figuring out how you can give value while you're spreading the message.
Yeah, man, and it's unplanned. It's worked out pretty well, and I guess there's been a little planning towards the end of merging, but I mean it all. Yeah, and this is another thing where it's like, well, like how like it's the baseline general advice is just like build multiple, build up endless side hustles, endless and it gets like a lot of people say, well, focus on one thing, but in these are like the niche, the markets are kind of small in every single one of these areas, and you never know. Like I don't know if I'm gonna sling a ghost pad or ghost phone this month, or I don't know if I'm gonna get stakeholder membership. Maybe you'll get a self liberation bundle order on the iPublication site. Maybe. Maybe maybe the Amazon angle will be good this month. Like you never know what I mean, you never know what's gonna sustain you. So, I mean that's the general thing is like just build out side hustles, and even better if they can feed into each other. To where when I'm putting when like because I was always trying to find ways to monetize podcasting or whatever, and you can't just monetize podcasting unless you reach a bunch of people, and so that was never possible. But so like I can get kind of somewhat maybe not now, maybe in a month or 2 months or whatever, but someone listens to that podcast, goes and buys a ghost pad or something, like, okay, there's my payment. But but then again, maybe it won't happen for 6 months, you never know. So it's pretty much just it's building up a whole slew of side hustles, just so that at any given time, hopefully, very likely one of them will be doing fine to where you're always somewhat okay. And then buying Bitcoin and Monero is also a good thing too, because the number is going up. Not that that's the sale or end all or be all, but economics is economics.
Yep. Yeah. So there's these different, I guess, ways that you can offload your Bitcoin into Monero to kind of make like payments happen for larger things that I've heard about. Do you know anything about some of those solutions that are out there?
So not so as far as Bitcoin to Monero, there's definitely a lot of services like that. I actually just started using. I'm really only into Bitcoin and Monero, and there's an app called Stack Duo, which only has Bitcoin and Monero, and they've got a really slick. Um, Was it that or was it Cake? I think it was this one. I've got like 12 Bitcoin wallets. I do a lot of testing. I'm pretty sure it's this one though. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So in Stack you can swap directly, internally via the app, no KYC, like Bitcoin to Monero. But the other one that's kind of even more interesting, um, is it's called Cake Wallet, and let's see. Use Cake. There's one I used where I bought a gift card directly in the app, and it worked really, really well. Kind of mad that I can't remember which one it was now.
Yeah, because that's the big hurdle, right? Is getting your crypto into fiat if you need it.
Well, yeah, it's gift cards. Yeah, gift cards is the way to do it. Or the other, like, so gift cards or a service. One I've been using out the past month or so, and one that was recommended to me from via Shadrach. He met this guy in Prague, and that's where the original hardcore cast of crypto anarchists that built a lot of the stuff, a lot of the Bitcoin technology and private technology today. That's where they're from. So the site is called 2Fiat, the number 2Fiat.com, and you can get a MasterCard. It works for recurring subscriptions. But yeah, you'd basically load that up. There's some fees there, but whatever. They're open, transparent about it. And if you want to, you can, if you think it's worthwhile. But it's great in terms of like, yeah, this is a no KYC digital. And you can even add it to like your Apple Pay, which I don't recommend that, but I don't recommend Apple Pay. But like if you're trying to pay like with credit card on Apple Pay or something like that, it works for this. So yeah, you can load it up with Monero, Bitcoin, probably other ones too, but I haven't paid attention to it. So yeah, the number 2Fiat.com is my newest biggest recommendation for like a digital, or even if you're, I guess apparently you can use it like Walmart too if you scan it or something. I don't know how Apple Pay works or Google Pay or whatever works, but it works with it. So that would be a big vetted, one of those vetted solutions that just stumbled across my lap. And I'm super thankful for, because there are a lot of scam sites out there. A lot of scam sites, especially if you're paying in Monero, because there's no reason for them to send you the card or send you the card information.
Right. Because once they got the Monero, right, they can kind of just disappear.
Yeah, that you can't track them. So,
right.
Yeah, so I guess that would be one, and then yeah, there are plenty of swaps. Like I mentioned, Stack Duo. There's internal swap. I think there's internal swap on Cake Wallet too, but. Yeah, going through, Bitcoin to Monero or Monero to Bitcoin is definitely not, definitely not an issue. I used to use, when I was practice bad security culture, there's a site called Changelane. At least I used a simple login, like a throwaway email address, but I used to use Changelane and like set up a 2-hop VPN and probably a bunch of unnecessary stuff that I probably made a mistake somewhere. Whereas you can just swap internally in the app and
be done with it
for you. Yeah. So it's easier now. Easier now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Those are some cool tools that people can utilize. Well, yeah, Shane. I appreciate you coming on and catching up with me and having a chat, and really appreciate your time. So, yeah, man, where can people find everything that you're doing, all the stuff that you got going on, and let people know how they can follow, support you, and get all your stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, it's been great to reconnect, and I'll put this out on the Pasadena Radio Network. It'll be a live stream, not this Saturday, but next Saturday at from I guess 8 p.m. Eastern. Starting 8 p.m. Eastern. So I'll throw this out there. Or I guess whenever it is, whether it's a week or two, I'll get this out there, and hopefully some of my folks will go out and check out your work too. I've been loosely following, and I've been seeing you've been doing some stuff, and I need to actually have a conversation focus on what you're doing. So I do intend on doing that. Regardless, people want to keep up with what's going on. Vonu Podcast, VONU podcast.com is the best place to go. Everything Pasney, pretty much everything. You want audiobooks, you want Pasney information, you want live shows, anything like that, it all goes out in the Vonu Podcast feed or website. And then libertarianattack.com if you're looking for books, wellness items like we talked about earlier, or privacy tools. We help you share your story via the publishing, but we also help you find your freedom. You shouldn't be using spy phone in your pocket. You should have a ghost phone. You definitely shouldn't be using a computer with an IMEI Intel management engine in there. That's no good, no bueno. Don't need to operate with snitches in our pockets or in front of our faces or on our laps. So we offer, it's complicated stuff. So thankfully, via vetting, I outsourced that to our good friend, very very good friend Jamin, one of my best friends actually, I would say, and I've only actually met him in physical. I've only spent like 3 occasions with him in physical space and time. We're gonna go to his place next year, hopefully. But yeah, he's a hardware hacker. He has been for a long time, and he does all that stuff, so I can trust it. I don't got to deal with it and learn all that shit because I don't want to be quite frank. So I outsource that to him, and they're available to anybody. Lowest prices, and you can actually trust it. It's not just from some random website, and you're not going to pay like $1,000 for like an old Pixel or something. So yeah, we offer Ghost pads, Ghost phones. There's more available too. There's a bunch we have to get listed, but like Ghost stations, if you're a content creator or something, it comes with like 25 different versions of Photoshop and video editors. Too much for me.
Oh, really?
But
Wow. Okay, I
yeah,
didn't know you had that available.
yeah, and then there's he's built. You can add in even more GPU power, or CPU power for mining or whatever. The Ghost stations are great. They're mega machines. Ghost. So we've got that Ghost tablets, which are small little Lenovo Ghost. I guess Lenovo X200 tablets. Oh, and they're great little beautiful machines. But yeah, there's only a certain number of computers you can do this to. So there's not like a wide variety, but they're all great, and you can toss on your own Linux distribution, whatever you want. And lots of custom options too. Like he's been doing a lot of work on like Wi-Fi surveillance cameras, using mesh networks to like cover the property, things like that. Even drones. He's been doing a lot of stuff with drones too, which is pretty cool. So.
Wow.
Yeah, if you've got any custom solution needs, just email me, shane@libertytech.com, and I will intermediate and get in contact and see if what you want is possible, because we can always do custom deals. Otherwise, yeah, paznia.com, paznia.com. We're building the second realm. We're building a parallel network founded on the principles of peace, voluntarism, and coercion, and non-coercion. So, if any of that is interesting to you, paznia.com is the place to go. Paznia.com/Vonufest to actually get out to an event in physical space and time. Get vetted. Just takes an email usually, and we can get started from there. And then yeah, the last thing I'll mention, it's been my baby. I love it. The Paznia Radio Network, especially Self-Liberation Saturdays. We start at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central every Saturday. Starts with Cloak and Dagger with Thane Riddle. It is an incredible show. Don't listen to it with your kids in the car. But unless I'm not going to tell you not to, but I'm just giving you for people listening, maybe listen to one first and then figure out if you want your children to listen to it. It's a little more hardcore than South Park, but it's good stuff. So yeah. So that's usually Self-Liberation Saturday starts with Cloak and Dagger, and then James Cordner's the Voluntarist Academy goes usually for an hour and a half, and then Saturday evenings, if I'm not doing if I'm not doing a special thing like second round speed dating or a rebroadcast, then I sometimes do a Vonu podcast live, and on Saturday evenings. And it's a nice little 6-hour thing. A lot of comedy. Bitcoin Bugle is a great Bitcoin culture jamming outfit. They put out some amazing ads, quote unquote ads that aren't actually ads.
Yeah,
skits. But it's everything surrounding the Paznia Radio Network is comedy. But it's also serious. It's also serious too. But we got to have a good time. We got to laugh, and then we also got to get real deep into the Bill Cooper stuff, to where you're about in tears by the end of the broadcast. So we try to encompass the entire sphere of human emotions and human experiences. Paznia.com/radio to check out the full schedule. And if anyone wants to start, I mean, we are looking for more shows for the network. So if anyone's looking for you or anyone else, Saturdays, last Saturday, so we can talk about it. And we're looking. But yeah, man, it's been great reconnecting, and I need to again. I'm going to set an intention to get you to spend some time with you on the Vonu Podcast live and hear more about what you're doing, because I know you're doing a lot of cool stuff, and people need to hear about it. So we'll make that happen. But yeah, with that said, man, thanks so much again. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Make sure that we'll get all those links and everything into the show notes so people can go check it out, support you. You've been in the game for a long time, getting the message out for self-liberation and freedom, so that you definitely deserve to get this support. So, yeah, everybody go check out Shane. Make sure that you follow him and get yourself some stuff so that you're not being tracked, traced, databased all the time that Shane has to offer amongst his many other things that he's got going on out there. So please support him. And if you guys like this, or please like, share, subscribe this all around so that we can get this message out to more people. So really appreciate it. Once again, Shane, thank you so much, man.
Hey, cheers, brother.
All right.